This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It's Monday, November 25th. I'm here with Al, Brandon, Lindsay. I am Tori. Welcome back. Let's get right to it. Well, it's Thanksgiving week, and more than 31 million people are expected to travel for the holiday. That is a new record, and while security lines could be long, travelers across the country will be dealing with some super intense weather. We want to talk about that right now. Heavy rain and snow has already started in New England. Now, there's a winter storm watch in Northern California starting tomorrow, and tons of snow is expected in the Midwest and where we are right here in Denver. Now, this is super surprising, but even the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade may look a little different this year. It could be the first time since 1971 that there will not be any balloons. Officials will decide early Thursday morning if the winds are too strong for the characters to fly.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
My dad used to bring us to the Macy's parade the night before, every night to see the balloons getting blown up. So to not see it happen this year is like really sad.
I could never get into it.
Cheers.
But my grandparents, every morning we wake up, we spend Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house. It'll always be on. It's like a tradition in the London household. So
is it the
it'd
same
be weird not seeing that.
Without the float? Can you have a parade, a Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade without the floats, without the balloons?
Couldn't you just run the one from last year?
No, come on.
Would you really
That's
know?
not
if
fair.
they didn't?
I would. Come on, don't
Would
do that.
anybody?
Reuse, recycle.
Yeah, because people talk a lot about what companies using what balloons.
Okay,
and
so tell us about something last year. What balloon stood out the most?
Brandon's always trying to quiz me, and I don't got time for all that. Let's move on.
All right, moving on to something actually super interesting. Michael Bloomberg is officially running for president. He joined the race over the weekend as a Democratic candidate. You may recognize the name. He was mayor of New York City 3 terms in a row. He is one of the richest people in the world with a net worth of more than $50 billion with a B. I'm going to upset Jeff every time I say that. He hates when people say with a B. And he's running as a centrist, hoping that his moderate viewpoints will increase his electability against President Trump. So let's take a look all together at his ad.
And stood up to the coal lobby and the outright denial of this administration to protect the only home we have from the growing menace of climate change. But now he sees a different kind of menace coming from Washington, so there's no stopping here.
All right, so I just want to give you a little background information. He is running on a strict, very strong gun control policy. He's given something like $8 million to gun control. He also has something called stop and frisk, which has affected drastically African Americans. If you don't know what that is, it's unconstitutional. It has been ruled so. But he allowed in his mayoral campaign for 12 years, police could stop anyone and frisk them like this. Now, if you don't know, the body is so important to the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. And he basically ruined the Constitution when he did that and put a lot of people in jail. He's since apologized. How do you guys feel about this?
Yeah, he did apologize, and so I appreciate him coming out in front of it, but I think a lot of Latino and African Americans are going to be frustrated by this. People like Khalif Browder, a 16-year-old, lost his life behind getting stop and frisk, was in Rikers Island, and then committed suicide. So, you know, just based on that experience of pulling or stopping him on the street for no reason. So he has that big cloud over his head, but other than that, he has going for him that he's a businessman. So it would be businessman to businessman up there on the stage, and he feels like he can really kick it to President Trump, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think last week we talked about Pete Buttigieg and when he was the mayor and how, you know, he had some explaining to do to the black community, and we were like, can he get black voters as the campaign continued to go along? So Bloomberg, you know, he went out and did what kissed the baby. He tried to go on that whole apologize because you're coming out and running. But Al, do you think that that's going to be enough
Does that
to
cut
get
it,
the black
right? Does
vote?
that cut
I don't think so. I don't know. You know, we won't have a Democratic president that doesn't get the black vote, and I think that's going to hurt Buttigieg, and I think it's going to hurt Bloomberg. I think that, you know, you just saying I'm sorry for putting untold numbers of people in jail, giving untold numbers of people felony records that will be used against them for the rest of their life. A simple
for breaking
my bad.
the constitutional oath.
I do, and I think that like whoever he goes up against, this will be the first thing that's thrown in his face.
I think that it's a big sign of anxiety in the Democratic Party and with the candidates, because it's 10 weeks out from the first primary, and we have people jumping in. Deval Patrick last week, now Bloomberg. It's like I
forgot about Deval.
Yeah, nobody knows what's going on. I don't think anybody
I'm being 100% honest.
No, really.
Okay, this is such a great story. A home intruder in upstate New York did not get very far because he was confronted by an 82-year-old, yes, 82-year-old bodybuilder. Here's how she described it to local reporters.
He picked the wrong house to break into. I took that table and I went to working on him. When he's down, I'm jumping on him. And I'm hitting him. I'm hitting him with the broom, hitting him. And guess what? He wants to get the heck out of there. And I'm trying to help him get out of the house, but he's too heavy. I can't move him. He's dead weight.
So, what's interesting to me is that will become a remix. And you know what I mean?
She went in there. He's 28, and he tried to rob this old lady. She's slapping him with a broom. Al and I were laughing about she threw shampoo in his face. I think that he needs to just really learn his lesson. And the best part of this whole thing, she didn't press charges. She said that the behind whooping was enough. He learned his lesson. She did not press charges.
Yeah, he
I'm
can't
like,
go to jail
that
after
is one
that.
tough grandma.
Because she pressed the bench, you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
I do like that this shows you that for as much as I give Home Alone a lot of grief, I feel like this is a real life Home Aloneing. Like I feel like there's a new movie here, cast reboot, older black woman, and now she beats up the bad guys. Would you not watch that?
I'd watch that.
I would totally
What's the
watch
name?
it.
What's the title?
What's the title?
What's the title?
Home Alone
82.
Home Alone.
That's good.
Home Alone
Grandma
82.
too.
That's good.
That's really good. Wow. All right. Good for that grandma. Oh, someone wrote Nana Alone. Jesse Ferris. That's good.
Okay.
That's a good title.
All right, guys. This next story, it's like Ocean's 11. Is that the good one? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a plot from a movie. Thieves in Germany outsmarted a museum's security system and walked away with what officials are calling an immeasurable worth of valuables. They allegedly set fire to the power box, shutting down the alarms.
That's all it took?
Yeah, that seems really easy, actually.
Yeah, that'd be a really short, boring movie. Yeah. We just lit it on fire and took everything.
5 a.m. complete darkness. They set the box on fire, went in there, went through the, the side.
Look at her. She's all,
They got on the Autobahn. The museum is right near the Autobahn, so they sped out of there. They weren't able, they burned the getaway car. I mean, it's pretty good detail.
There's a difference between a heist and a robbery. Like, this was a real life heist. And no disrespect, but I respect people who can pull things like this off because one, no one died. That's one thing.
However, these jewels are incredibly sentimental to these people.
I understand that, and that's why I said no
museum.
disrespect. But at the same time, the type of meticulous planning that you have to put to do something like this.
Are you insane? This is a horrible
We're gonna hold on to Brandon speaking in middle school students.
We don't, but you're talking about Ocean's 11s and stuff. Those are movies. Why do those movies gross so much in money? Because people want to see robberies and bank robberies, that
But we
sort
want
of thing.
George Clooney to play them. We don't want to see them in real
Well, George
life.
Clooney's going to have to play this guy because they're going to have a movie on this now. Like, this is.
I can see Brandon talking to high school students. Plan your life like you're about to do a bank heist. That's Brandon. No. No robberies.
Don't you think they should have, like, in case the power fails, like extra security measures?
That's what I thought.
Odd to me that this
like a
happened.
security guard. Like,
It was an inside
Something like
job
a
then.
person on guard, like
Very
blocking
odd.
the most precious jewels.
And these jewels, again, they had to fight to get into these museums. They really are precious to this family, so.
I wonder if they're going to melt them down or what,
Oh, God.
what happens.
Wow, you have a whole theory going on.
What do you do with them? How do you
All right,
sell that? Like, oh, I have this.
Okay. All right. Oh, I love this story. Well, a severely colorblind boy was overwhelmed with emotion after seeing the rainbow for the very first time. While the 7th grader was learning about colorblindness, his principal joined in, who is also colorblind. He let him borrow some special eyeglasses. Watch what happens. He burst into tears. Watch this.
So what do you think then?
Here he goes. Yeah.
that's great.
And he kept the glasses overnight. Just so you know, there's the principal. It's something amazing to see people see color and things for the very first time on YouTube. You can see a lot of this. It takes your honest to God breath away, or people who can hear with a cochlear implant.
Right.
But apparently they've raised $350. They had a GoFundMe to get this kid some glasses. Well, they raised $26,000. You said?
Yeah, and then the company said they're going to match every glasses that they buy with the $26,000 and give it to people who also can't see color. So that is just the.
What did the
awesome
actual
one.
glasses cost?
$350. And they tried to raise that on GoFundMe.
$26,000 because
That's
of
amazing.
this.
First thing I would have done if that was that kid, I would have went up to anybody, whoever cracked a joke on me, I'd have been like, your shirt don't match your pants, bruh.
There we go.
First time. Come on now.
Holding a lot of grudges.
Look at the grass and be like, I love God for the beautiful grass.
God, look,
He goes,
look,
"The
green,
grass
pink,
too many
orange,
grudges. That's too
greens."
much.
But I'd be like, that ain't
You
it,
wouldn't have
sis.
worn these shoes
That ain't it, sis. That ain't it. And they'd be like this, here, take it, take
That
it.
is
take it
wrong.
back.
All right, write in and tell us how wrong Brandon is. DBL is live and coming up. Why go to Popeyes when you can make their famous chicken sandwich at home? I'll show you how in Copycat Kitchen. And you, the viewer, are our 5th host. As we gather for Thanksgiving, is it rude to ask those around you, what do you do? Or is it an innocent conversation starter? Your comments are coming up next.
This November, DBL is better than ever. This week, Al gets much-needed cooking lessons just in time for Thanksgiving. Don't miss a minute of Daily Blast Live.
Granny, cooking with Granny. Hi, DBL Nation. Happy Monday. Kelly Schubert here, the DBL digital team. I'm tracking all the breaking and trending news for you, and that includes that big snowstorm that's coming. It's going to move through the Rockies, then move up to the Midwest. It's going to be bad. If you guys are traveling, let us know where you're going to be traveling. As always, make sure you check your flight before you leave. Check the roads before you leave. Got to be safe out there. Let's go to the desk and see what our hosts are chatting about. Tori.
I can tell. I know.
Hi.
Hi, boo-boo.
How's it going?
So I just want to let everyone, Travis.
The glasses.
Yeah.
I know, they're great. I thought the same thing.
You guys, check this out.
First time. Really? What up? Hi, guys. Yeah, super cool.
No, I think he looks
it's not
fantastic.
really for being colorblind.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so get this. Here's my dress, and people are like, nice dress, Tori. Well, here's the deal. Kelly said, hey, are you playing
That's
tennis?
a nice dress, Tori.
It actually looks great on camera. I'm going to eat my words.
If the
Yes.
colorblind kid could
It looks
see you,
great
he
on
would give you
camera.
a hug.
Really?
He would
But
give you a
it also
hug.
looks like something you could wear to play a really nice tennis game at Cherry Creek.
Or a little bit of anime. Does it feel a little like Japanese Tokyo?
Yeah, I like it though.
With the streetwear? Do you feel me?
He said you look like athletic wallpaper.
Yeah, she looks like a room divider at an Asian buffet. Doesn't she?
Do I look like a room divider at an Asian buffet? Oh, I love sushi.
I might get some right now.
Happy holiday week. Oh, says Lindsay. Don't want to start a fight, Brandon, says Doris.
Oh, well, thanks, Brandon.
John Pedrini says we have to isolate these pieces of advice and create new segments called Life Lessons with Brandon London. Two in the same act.
I mean, but there is something to what Brandon's saying in that, like, some people do get motivated by people that hated on them coming up. That is a motivator. Now, it doesn't really help with movies, but some people get motivated by people getting hated on.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and we are all talking about getting ready for the holidays and how to avoid putting your foot in your mouth, but not the turkey. Am I right? Okay. During a festive feast, experts say that the question, "What do you do?" can be an innocent icebreaker, but it comes with sort of a built-in judgment. This may also be a sore subject for many during the holidays, and your answer can misbrand you, plus turn casual conversation into unwelcomed networking. So, DBL Nation, is the question, what do you do, rude or not?
Okay, James from Facebook says, I do think an unofficial hierarchy is established when that question is asked. I think, who are you is a better question. And yeah, I agree. I kind of get annoyed when people say, what do you do? Or when I ask people, what do you do? Because sometimes the conversation can elevate or be more surface than that. So I just kind of rather have casual conversations. How are you doing? What's new? Rather than what do you do? Because sometimes people's job don't actually make them. They just do it
but if
for
you're
them.
just meeting the person, you can't say, kind of, how are you?
Well, I mean, people would ask me
What's your
first date, like, what do
icebreaker?
you do? To me, that was an awkward question when I went to LA.
Yeah.
To be like, why? You know, for me, that didn't make sense. But that's the only time I could think about having those new conversations, I guess, with friends.
It is a bit, I find it a bit aggressive, too.
Just someone asking what
no,
you do.
but if you're, because nowadays I know a lot of, well, I'll go ahead.
Let's see what Julie has to say about this. Julie from Facebook says, no, everyone does something, even if it's playing video games in a sparkly tutu. That's doing something. If you can't talk about what you do, then maybe stop doing it.
Maybe you work for the CIA. Maybe you can't talk about it.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be at that party if you work for the CIA, no?
That's maybe you just don't want to tell people what you do.
But maybe asking someone what you do is like in a day and age where people are like, no one's talking to me, no one's being friendly, and someone's having a conversation starter. Like, I don't understand why you get in trouble for asking someone what you do.
I don't think you get in trouble, but I think there's better questions to be asked that don't put someone on the defensive a bit.
So there's like a list of like, what's a good question, what's a bad question?
We can always make conversation a better and more elevated experience.
Wow, that was... That Michigan education just popped in just now.
But I don't know if that works for your first conversation ever.
Neither does what do you do? What is that?
It's supposed to, like, whatever they say, you're supposed to say, oh, I used to work there. Oh, I used to live in, like, things to kind of start
where are you from? What do you do? Go ahead. I keep
your second one was, what do you do?
What about if you're in an Uber and they ask, what do you do? And then all of a sudden they start pitching you materials. That happened to me at least 3 times in LA. So that's why I stopped telling people what I do.
Thank you. All right, I'm on board. All right, Gabriel from Facebook says, I find a better icebreaker to be, what do you enjoy doing, or what inspires you, or at least start with that before talking business. I'm sorry, Gabriel. Somebody asked me what inspires me at Thanksgiving. I'd be like, eventually unbuckling my belt. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have a Maya Angelou moment at the dinner table. I just want to have a little pleasant conversation.
Well, listen to what Mike says on Facebook. He says, it's not necessarily rude, but it's often inappropriate. I have relatives and people I've known for a long time who never ask me that question. Let me tell you something. I'm friends with a ton of artists, and some of them are out of work, and especially over the holidays, it's super sensitive. And it's not a great thing to say, oh, I do this, and blah, blah. Then it starts off in a weird way. I think it's nicer to say, where, like someone just wrote in, where do you work, would be a nice...
But then if they don't work, then that's way worse. You'd be like, oh, I work at home.
I just hate the idea of family time turning into networking time. Yeah. That's my biggest problem.
But what's wrong with asking, if you're asking an artist, what do you do? I'm an artist.
Yeah.
Like, an artist doesn't need like a job,
It's just hard for people in a gig economy to be like, I right now do Uber. That's sometimes hard for people to say.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have a cool, like, everybody can't be Tori and be like, hey, I work for Street Fighter. You know, it's like, which one's the hardest character to fight?
That good?
You look like Chung-Li. Yes.
Oh, man.
She does. dress.
I totally do.
man.
Thank you. That was a compliment. Now
I
there's
like your
another.
dress, Tori.
Thank you. There's another Michael Jackson project in the works. Raquel, what is going on?
Tori, a Michael Jackson biopic is now in the works, and it's being produced by the same people who did Freddie Mercury's story in Bohemian Rhapsody, which has made almost $1 billion at the box office. Now, Michael Jackson's estate has signed off on the deal to include his music, and Deadline reports this won't be a sanitized storyline, which brushed is over his controversies. The film is set to cover his entire life up until his death at 50. So, DBL Nation, what do you think? Would you see this biopic?
I'm going to be honest, no.
Really?
I don't know. After the whole thing with the documentary really changed my mind a lot.
But do you think you get both sides of the story? Because a lot of people said they had issues with the documentary because
Yeah,
they only interviewed 2 people that said he did something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not people who didn't. I mean, I think my mind's kind of made up, but
yeah, it's hard for me to just
it's tough.
go back.
It's hard. Yeah.
Because I treasured him, as did a lot of people. Well, coming up on DBL, people are losing their minds over Popeye's chicken sandwiches. So why not keep your cool and make one yourself in your own kitchen? Copycat Kitchen Meow is next.
So guys, and I know this is breaking news for Brandon. Okay, the dog from the Baghdadi raid is getting honored at the White House for real. So not that Photoshop picture that the president sent out. It's gonna be a real photo of the dog at the White House. And Brandon can tell you tons of facts about what this dog is capable of doing.
Why are you putting me on the spot?
War dog.
You know, war dogs. He
Okay,
knows
there's
it.
this running joke because
No,
when we did this story, I was very enthusiastic about talking about the war dogs, the dogs that the Navy SEALs use. I watched a show called SEAL Team, and then I watched a show called, what's the other one called? Six. And they use these like German Shepherds and all in these raids. So I like the dogs.
And I thought the audience, somebody or several people probably are into it. Tell them what you know.
Yeah, but
this dog can jump out of planes. I know that.
The dog can jump out of planes. It can climb ladders.
Brandon?
How
They
can
can see
dog
with the-
see? Isn't it really
Come on.
windy?
Say the thing.
What are they?
They have these special doggles that give them night vision. Al puts it in the. He sent a picture of a dog with doggles in the group chat for everybody.
Every
here. So
break
it's
for
like
the
a
next-
running. It's a running.
As long as you're on YouTube today, Brandon's gonna talk about this dog. So stay tuned.
No, I'm not.
Oh boy, welcome back to DBL. The Popeye's chicken sandwich craze is real, people, but good luck getting your hands on one. Popeye's locations are still selling out, so I'm showing you how to make one at home in today's Copycat Kitchen. There are 2 steps to making the very famous Popeye's chicken sandwich. The first, fry the chicken. The second, make the sauce. Let's start with frying the chicken. For this part, you're gonna need buttermilk, chicken breasts, vegetable oil, flour, cornstarch, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, Cajun seasoning, cayenne pepper, and salt and pepper. So for 4 to 24 hours before you serve, you want to marinate the chicken. Combine the buttermilk, paprika, cayenne pepper, salt, and pepper. Then place in your chicken breasts, making sure it's covered completely. Next, cover your bowl tightly, and then put it in the fridge to marinate. And thanks to TV magic, look, it's all ready to go. Combine the flour, cornstarch, and seasonings for the breading. Next, you'll pick up your marinated chicken and then coat it with the flour. Now that the chicken is breaded, it can go straight into the fryer. Now be careful because this oil is hot, 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 and let it cook for 4 to 6 minutes. Once your chicken is done cooking, let it cool on a baking sheet lined with paper towels. Now it's time for the sauce. Mix everything together and you have your sauce. It's that easy. Now that I have my chicken, my buns, and my sauce, we're gonna put the whole thing together. So let's go find out if this ranks up with the actual Popeye's chicken sandwich. All right, I'm here with Jeff. He's blindfolded and ready for the copycat taste test. I have in front of us my homemade chicken sandwich and the Popeye's chicken sandwich. He's going to try to see which is the real one and which one is the dupe. Are you ready?
So one's a sandwich and one's a sandwich?
We're gonna go there. There you go.
There's no stick in here?
No, yeah. Whoa, he just took it all. Okay, there you go.
I'm gonna have to say, this one's a Popeyes.
So B is original, A is the dupe.
Yep.
All right, we got Druff Schroeder's take on it. Let's go to the next play.
Druff?
The second one is the dupe.
Second one is the dupe, the original is the A is the original, B is the dupe. All right, we got Granger's take. Finally, we're gonna go to Steph.
The second.
So the second is the real and A is the copycat.
I'll be honest, I genuinely, that's just pure guess. There's
wow. So we did a good job.
Yeah.
All right.
For me, yeah.
All right, well, we fooled 2 out of 3 people because B is the original and A is the copycat. All right. So find us at dailyblastlive.com and on social media for the full recipe. It's good, guys. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
We all agree that a traditional Thanksgiving dinner includes things like turkey, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. But why do we eat these foods on Thanksgiving? Let's connect the dots. First up, the big bird on the table. You might assume it's because the Pilgrims ate turkey on the first Thanksgiving. Well, first-hand accounts of that event don't mention turkey, but they were common in the area. It's also a uniquely North American animal, so when President Lincoln made Thanksgiving a national holiday, turkey gained traction as the star of the table. But what about the cranberry sauce? While cranberries would have been easy to come by, Pilgrims would have been missing the main ingredient that makes it palatable, sugar. But the tart berry is so identifiable as American, it landed on the Thanksgiving table. It's the same story with pumpkin pie. The first Pilgrims would have been missing some of the main ingredients for pumpkin pie, mainly butter and flour. But by the time the national holiday came along, it was firmly entrenched in the American playbook. So, while our Thanksgiving meal may not be historically accurate, it's still 100% American.
Guys, welcome back to Beauty Blast. I'm Jeray Banks, or at Jeray for the Slay, if you know what I mean. Make sure you're following on all social media platforms for the newest and best of Beauty Blast. Now today, I'm coming at you with some beauty gossip, and this tea is piping hot, y'all. Okay, let me go ahead and blow this off because it's ready, all right? Now, today we're talking about Wendy Williams calling out Iggy Azalea. Now, this happened on Wendy's talk show recently, in which Wendy Williams was actually speaking about Nicki Minaj's retirement. And she goes in at some point to start talking about Iggy Azalea and says, you know, the Australian girl with the fake body, it's not even hers. Now, Wendy has some nerve to talk because we all know that Wendy isn't the most, you know, all natural in the body business, okay? We can kind of see from your figure, girl, looking like a lollipop or whatever. Now, that's not any of my business. However, it was Iggy's. Iggy clapped back on social media, sending out a tweet saying, oh, you mean that crackhead that has a gossip show? And that was definitely a shots fired moment, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick moment for that because Wendy just, woo, child, I don't know what to say for you, girl. Back to reality. Now, Wendy hasn't really came back and said anything, or nor has her camp, because let's face it, Wendy Williams is the queen of gossip. A little Australian queen talking some smack isn't really gonna hurt her, but we do have to face the facts that maybe we shouldn't be calling out people's drug addictions. Addiction is really something that is from your health and overall psyche, so a few people were clapping back on Iggy Azalea saying, is this really right, girl? Did you really take the right shot here? Because that kind of was a low blow, seeing that Wendy Williams was just in rehab last year. With that being said, I'd love to know your guys' take. What do you think? Was Iggy going too far? Or was she in the right since Wendy kind of called her out first? I don't know, I'm kind of on Iggy's side, but hey, that's just me. I'm a shady queen. If you guys have more questions or want to comment on Beauty Blast, right below, or find me on social media at Jeray for the Slay. We'll see you guys next time.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. I just wanted to read this person when we talked about what do you do. What did your mom text you right now? I thought this was super smart.
That was really great.
My mom said, that's like asking someone, what do you make? Totally inappropriate question. And I didn't take it that far, but it makes sense because if you say something that someone frowns upon, then all of a sudden you're the topic of conversation. If you say something you make like a CEO salary, then all of a sudden it's like, oh.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah.
I'd like people to write in and say like a good icebreaker. I'm dead serious.
What is a good icebreaker?
Because I used to just ask that question just to kind of wherever you work, just to have something to talk about. But I could definitely see where your mom's coming from. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, Rachel Moore wrote in and said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's what I do. To all the stay-at-home moms and dads, you're warriors. Huh? Does my outfit look good?
I love it.
It does.
Thanks.
I don't know why people are laughing. I like it.
I like it.
I feel like I'm going to get mocked all day.
No.
All right, we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys.